Alright, so you can see we have a frozen evaporator. Now, if you're experiencing this, that means you have a defrost issue. Your fresh food will not be as cold, maybe in the 50s. So here's something you can do. Feel up there if you feel air blowing. Now, get a feather or a piece of plastic, maybe something really light. Tissue will work as well. And see if you can feel or see any airflow. Now, open your freezer door and try that again. And you will feel airflow because now the fan is moving the air from outside and blowing it up there. But it's still going to be very limited because your evaporator cover and evaporator itself is frozen. You can see a little bit of air movement, not a lot, because the fan actually pulls the heat from your fresh food section, brings it up across the evaporator. Now we're going to put this unit into defrost. We're going to toggle up to number 6. And if you pay attention, after the number 6, you'll see a number 2. That means the bimetal is not working. And when it's not working, it means the heater is not coming on to melt the ice. So we're going to remove the screw up top, which is a 1/4 inch. Remove that cover. And then under that, you have the evaporator cover, 2 more 1/4 inch screws. Below that, 2 more screws. That might be frozen, so you might need to use a steamer or hair dryer. Don't force anything, just be mindful. If anything, let the fridge melt, and then you can remove it safely. Now, we're going to check the bimetal again, meaning we're going to check the power or voltage coming out of the heater wires. So we're going to unplug the heater itself. We're going to place our meter leads into each of the heater wires. You're going to set your meter to volts AC. It might be frozen, so you might have to defrost just a little bit, but you don't want to defrost it yet because you're testing the bimetal. You want to make sure that it is cold enough for the bimetal to be in the close position. Close meaning power can go from point A to point B. Alright, so we're connecting. And make sure you unplug the unit first. It's always best. Then plug it back in. Alright, you can see we're getting 93 volts. Not good. Okay, so that's... your heater would still come on, but it's not going to be red hot. It's not going to be enough heat to melt the ice. So every time the heater would come on, you'd melt some ice, but it would not be sufficient enough to actually defrost your evaporator. And eventually it's going to be iced up and it's going to be struggling. So the entire harness assembly can be bought, and you can just unplug it, plug it in, plug your heater connections in, and your fan. Don't forget your fan connection. And that will fix your issue. Now we're unplugging this harness. I'm using a pick hook. And there's a little tab on that. You just lift the tab slightly and then pull. So what we're going to do, we're going to remove the thermostat, which is the bimetal, because that's bad. And we're actually going to put another bimetal in and call it a day. But then I wanted to show it on the video. I wanted you guys to see what voltage you should be getting from the board. So when you put the unit into defrost, your board sends voltage power to your heater, which is 120 volts. And if you have a bad board, you will not get the voltage. And if you have a bad bimetal, you will not get the voltage. As you can see, we're testing the bimetal at room temperature, and it is no good. and we're going to freeze it for a few hours, maybe 5 hours actually, and you can see it is still not good. So that bimetal is no good, and that will cause your unit to freeze up. You can see it's melting. The frost is actually falling off, and that's the actual bimetal that was in the unit. So yeah, we're just connecting the bimetal. Now normally I replace the entire assembly. We're going to be going away, and the bimetal is just totally fine. Same range, so it will work just fine. So that's not a problem. And you also want to make sure that you get some silicone. I did not show it, but silicone in the, at least in the beginning of the wire connection, so that you keep moisture out of those connections. Wing nuts or wire nuts, totally fine. Just keep the moisture out of it. Normally I like to do soldering. It's a cleaner connection, looks better, and use heat shrink. So we are connecting it back, but shortly you'll see I'm gonna actually take the bimetal back out of circuit because I wanted to show it. And then you'll see where you're getting the proper voltage, which is 120 volts to the heater. Not much here to see. I was going to give you guys a close-up, but all you have is just the heater, which 2 connections. You have the fan, and then you have the main plug-in, and of course the bimetal that goes back onto the evaporator. So nothing to see. And of course, don't forget your ground strap, which is down there on the right. Alright, so now you can see O2. That means the thermostat, it's not cold enough. So obviously when the unit cools down, then that thermostat would close. It would be in the open, it would be in the closed position. Sorry, it's open right now because not allowing power to flow. When it gets closed, that means it gets cold enough. Now the board will send power and everything will work just fine. Now I'm going to defrost it, but now in the next clip shortly you'll see when we replace the bimetal again with a piece of wire, and that will complete the circuit, and that will show you O1, which means a working thermostat. And a working thermostat will give you 120 to the heater, which will properly defrost your evaporator, so you won't have the ice building up again. Also, while you're there, go ahead and check your heater. Make sure your heater is working, meaning check for continuity. And if you're getting good continuity, that means your heater is good. You're getting power from point A to point B. So that's the blue wire. You can see it. And we have our connection made. And right now, we're going to go and engage again into service mode. And we're going to initiate. Unit is off, so we're going to turn it back on into service mode. I'm going to go to 6. And if you pay attention, you'll see a 1 real quick. A 1. That's 120 volts. Beautiful. Now when I close the door, you'll see the O1, which means system is good. Take a look. It should show up. There it is. There it is, O1. Excellent. So when you do run your diagnostic, that's the first thing you want to look for. Pretty much O1. All those are good. Means everything is in the working position. Let's put it that way. All right, so pretty much enjoy the rest of the video. we're going to be putting everything back together, and just pay attention to how you take it apart. Make sure you fully defrost your evaporator. If not, it's going to take the refrigerator longer to reach temperature, and you may still have ice in certain areas that the heater will not get. So defrost your unit, get the job done right, and be done with it. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and if this video was helpful, give me a cup of coffee. Appreciate it.